I need to get on with my life. Well, make one.
Got a whole new life. If I were you, I'd be terrified, but you're just so cool about everything.
Sarah, honestly, if I had £1 for every time someone said that to me, I could hire a hitman to kill everyone that's ever dissed me.
You made a total fool of yourself yesterday, but I'm prepared to forget about it and move on.
It was a few drinks. That's not even close to what you've done. Keep it down, you two.
Are you Chaz?
Yeah, you are.
I'm Caleb. I'm Faith's son. I'm your brother.
Emmerdale ends the year 2022 in 9th place, last place in my soap opera rankings for December 2022. It's 9th place because there is no Home and Away. They are on break in December, so there's not 10 soap operas to cover. Only 9 this month, and Emmerdale earned that bottom spot. Looking at this show, watching this show, it's in a very bad place in my opinion creatively. And it's been bad decision after bad decision for this show for many years, several years, arguably 2 decades, if we're gonna really talk about it. And it's gonna everything I've said about Emmerdale is all going to culminate today, because right now this show has nothing going for it outside of the Dingles. But the problem is that the Dingles are so redundant and unlikable that it makes the show almost unwatchable, in my opinion. It is either boring or unwatchable. There's really no in between, and that's how Emmerdale earned this last place spot. The main story had been that Kane is taking the fall for Kyle because Kyle really shot and killed Al, and now Kane is taking the fall for that. But the other tie-in to that is the reason Kane confronted Al in the first place is because Al and Chaz were having an affair. Now, some will say that, hey, at least Patty really knew the truth this month, and Patty got to really give it to Chastity about her affair with Al. But for a viewer like me, who gets really sick of the Dingles and the characters adjacent to the Dingles, like Patty, it's hard for me to care or like any of this that's been going on. And that's just where I really am with Emmerdale, because having to watch the Dingles constantly go through all of this and get out of things. We had Charity, who is Dingle adjacent, get out of fighting Amy and hurting Amy because Chloe was possibly pregnant with Mackenzie's baby. But Mackenzie was able to just have a conversation with Chloe, even though he's not taking any responsibility for the baby, and convince Chloe to not press charges against Charity, which goes against her sister Amy's wishes because Amy's the one hurt. And what really grinds my gears about the Dingles and the Dingle adjacent characters is that the fan base of Emmerdale let this happen to the show. The Dingle family is no longer good TV. It's just not. But the problem is they became so popular with the audience that they ate the show alive. And now we have nothing but Dingle and Dingle adjacent characters. And the fan base enabled this to happen. It's one thing to like characters so much that they take over a show. It happens all the time in soap operas because of bad writing. But to this day, the fan base that still watches Emmerdale continues to enable the show to shove the Dingles down our throats. They vote for the Dingles' best family at the British Soap Opera Awards. And now look at what we're left with. We're left with terrible television on Emmerdale because the Dingles just ate the show alive. And they're so unlikable and so redundant. We've seen Kane in the situation where he's accused of killing someone he didn't actually kill 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. And what really annoys me is I get online sometimes on social media and I see Emmerdale fans talking about characters like Chloe, who now left. And they're happy Chloe left because she was either boring or just getting on their nerves for no reasons. And they say the same thing about the Anderson family. They're either boring or they get on the nerves of Emmerdale fans. How did the Dingles not get on your nerves? You see them in the same stories all the time. You see how terrible they are all the time, but the fan base votes for them best family at the British Soap Opera Awards. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. I don't care if this pisses Emmerdale fans off. The show sucks. The show absolutely sucks. It's terrible to watch. It's bad television. And right now, out of all the 9 soap operas airing in December, it was by far the most unwatchable. Which is saying a lot, because a lot of the American soap operas have absolutely terrible writing. So when your writing is as bad as the American soap operas are, you're doing something really wrong. And Emmerdale's doing something really wrong. The problem is they did something really wrong for years now. And that was continue to grow the Dingle family by not care about the other families on the show. And now you're stuck with Dingle and Dingle adjacent characters that either suck, like Chaz. She's a terrible character right now. She's done terrible things over this past year. Or you're watching Kane in the same situation for what feels like the millionth time, even though it's just the 3rd time. And to make matters worse, what's the answer they try and do? Well, they give us a retcon. They give us a character named Caleb, who turns out is Faith's son. That means he's related to Kane and Chaz. They have this brother that they never knew about, and now he's coming to the town. And I just don't care. Who can care about Kane and Chaz having another sibling out of thin air? I certainly don't care. I only watched up to the Christmas episode, which was miserably boring. The Christmas episodes for British soap operas are either supposed to be some big events or at least the climax of some stories, but we just get a fucking brother for Chaz and Kane. It's bad, man. It's bad. There's some other stories going on, but I can't say. There was actually one good story in December I need to talk about, I guess. It wasn't good enough to get it on last place in my rankings. But I also want to talk about Vinny. He's been a mess since Liv died, and it's hard for me to care about that either because he acts dumb about it, and he's always... We saw at the beginning of December, I swear, there was like 5 episodes in a row where it was just Vinny yelling at his mother, Mandy, for 5 episodes in a row. And it was just annoying and hard to watch. The one story they kind of got right in December was Arthur coming out as gay to Nicola. Of course, in Emmerdale style, they had to add some drama to it with Elliot, Nicola's son, overhearing and then telling people at school. But then Arthur then told his mother, Laurel, that he is gay. And I do feel like they did at least good with that story. It only lasted like a week. We really only saw it a week time in December. But I do think they did pretty well with that. But overall, Emmerdale's the worst soap to watch right now. The writing is bad. And I wish Emmerdale fans would stop enabling this show to just continue to grow the Dingles, be redundant with the Dingles. We've seen them a million times. But then the fans hate on the characters that aren't the Dingles. I want to see more of the characters that aren't the Dingles. Because we've seen the Dingles in the same stories over and over. They always get out of it somehow. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care about the damn Dingles anymore. I'm at my breaking point with the Dingles in my rankings, and that is why Emmerdale's the worst soap opera right now in December 2022. Going into 2023, Emmerdale's the worst soap to watch, period.